Okay.
Hi, Steven. How are you going?
Good. Yourself?
I'm very, very good. How are you on Saturday morning?
Saturday mornings been good. Gone out for my walk. So done the housework, and now, doing some work essentially.
Fantastic. Yeah. Saturday is not anymore a day off, isn't it? Saturday is like a new Friday or new Thursday, isn't
Exactly.
it?
I think especially now all the days seem to be rolling into one, and they all seem the same.
Especially for business owners like yourself, busy all the time. So for
Correct.
someone who just about to join us or going to watch the video on Anchor, I've got Steven Zammit today from Realestate Uno. And I'm very excited because we tried to catch up for a long time, and I want to really, really learn more about his journey as the business owner. And I'm sure a lot of people also would love to do so. So Steven, please tell me, what is actually Realestate Uno? What it stands for.
Okay, all right. So just to put things in background, Uno, right? Uno was basically born out of the Italian word uno, number one, right? So depending on what side where you
Makes
live,
sense.
you might call it or Uno. But anyway, that's the background behind that. Okay, the business was basically born out of what we're seeing a gap in the current market. And essentially what the business aims to do is to create a new vertical. And that vertical is what we're calling a social commerce platform. So probably the easiest way to describe it is the social aspect is similar to what people are accustomed to with Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Pinterest, for example, okay? But what we've done also is we've integrated the commerce aspect behind that. Now we've concentrated on the real estate space because obviously the market is a very large market. Obviously real estate touches everyone in some shape or form, be it as a homeowner or a tenant or a landlord or, all of the above essentially. And obviously, with your home, there's maintenance, there's things to buy, repair, etc., etc. So Realestate Uno was basically born to capture the property ownership journey of the consumer from start to end, okay? And what we're doing is we're utilising technology to undertake that through various services, information, etc., etc. So think about it from the time that you're able to either buy your first property or go out and rent a property. You're going to have to look for either someone to help you with your finance, so a mortgage broker, and let's take it from there. So you go out and find a mortgage broker. And then you get your finance, and you've got to go out and find your property. Once you've found your property, you do your purchase, so you get conveyance, so you do your settlement, and then essentially you own a property and you've got debt to the bank in most circumstances. So, if you're a homeowner, what you're then doing is obviously you've got things to do around the house. You might want to do some renovations or some work and maintenance that can be done. And so over that journey, what we're doing is we're capturing that journey for that consumer. So when a consumer is actually starting to look for a property, for example, and starts thinking about I'm wanting to buy, I need to look at my finances, etc. This is where the platform comes into play. So what we're looking at doing is really being able to allow the consumer to fundamentally connect with property professionals, to be able to build trust, relationships, and knowledge. So think of it in the most simplistic way. Sometimes, you might be at a barbecue or a party or whatever it may be, and you might be looking to do something around your house. And it so happens that there's a person there that's is a tradesperson, for example. Let's call it a cabinet maker. You want to redo a kitchen. You get talking to that person, etc., etc. You start to build a rapport, and then usually what happens if you kind of kick it off with that person, when it comes time to actually make a decision to buy something, you'll either remember that person or, oh yeah, I'm going to look to engage that particular person there. So that's what we're exactly trying to do on the platform, because what we want to be able to do is allow consumers to start to connect with property professionals, to start to build knowledge, gain information, and build trust with those parties. So from a consumer's point of view, it helps, as I said, build knowledge, trust, and relationship. But from a property professional point of view, and a property professional can be a real estate agent, a mortgage broker, a plumber, an architect, anyone that is, I guess, servicing the property space. What it allows professionals to do is start to connect with consumers a lot earlier in their decision-making process. So it's not at a time when a decision needs to be made and they need someone, because generally what ends up happening is you will, go out there and say, I need something done, and you'll get a couple of quotes. And generally what happens, it's a race to the bottom, right? Because consumers are obviously price conscious. And so who gives me the best price type scenario, then that's what we'll do. But what ends up happening in some instances is, okay, it's the lower price, but then you realise, oh, I thought you're actually going to, instead of, I've got a quote for painting, for example, I thought you're going to hand paint, but now you're telling me that you're going to spray, okay? And that's why your price is, for example, $1,000 cheaper than the other guy. So these are some of the things that we want to be able to allow consumers and property professionals to do. So at the end of the day, when the decision is made, you're actually making a decision based on a lot more knowledge. Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess in a succinct way, the business is fundamentally built on a social commerce platform. From a consumer's side, it's allowing consumers to build trust, knowledge, and relationships. On a property professional side, it's providing an opportunity for property professionals to connect with consumers, again, to build trust and relationship, but a lot earlier in their decision-making process, essentially. And obviously through commerce, knowledge and sharing, actually occurs, and we're trying to obviously build a community out of this. So.
I think you're also talking about the research as well, yeah, because before, for example, if you want to do renovation, you want to make sure you go to the right person. So I guess your platforms gives you that opportunity to learn who's actually going to be that best person for you, yeah, like not just quote, but
that's correct, because
it's a
at the end of the day,
well,
if you don't know a tradesperson, what do? Google, correct?
Yeah,
and
that's
Google
right.
gives you a lot of information. No, don't get me wrong. But it's very different actually connecting with a property professional who does that on a daily basis, right? So you can ask those intricate questions of this, and that, and different people will start to communicate and provide you that information. And obviously you'll gel with some people and you won't gel with other people. But that's just how relationships are built and that works. So again, in answer to your questions, you're right. For people who don't have those networks in the areas, Google's your best friend, and that's all you can really, go to. You'll either know someone, or you'll know someone who knows someone that will refer you to that. But if you don't have that, then what do? You go to Google.
Right.
Really.
Yeah, that's right. So at this stage, because it's a young platform, right? So
yep, we literally launched 18th of January.
18th of January. So how are you going with that? How do you actually share the knowledge about the Realestate Uno? How do you sort of allowing people to get to know you? What your kind of strategy behind it?
Sure. So right now, look, we've just launched, and we're still, let's call it at a minimum viable product level.
Yeah.
So we're building out the platform, starting to go out to connect with property professionals. We've got some real estate agents on board, and we're looking to broaden that out. So what we're doing is working with these professionals to, let's call it, refine the platform from their perspective, to make sure that we can deliver a service that they're willing to pay for, because from our revenue model, property professionals are the people that pay us a fee for the service. Essentially, for the consumer, it's actually free. we've started a little bit of social media advertising on Facebook. But once we get the platform, more refined and working through, we will start to obviously undertake, some various channels through, again, social media. I'll connect up with the media and other sort of public relation outlets.
Yeah, I know. Like, I think once it starts, it's like a snowball, right? So
yes,
people
so
are going to get to know you.
somebody
recommends you and stuff like that. So it's all about having a good start and a good strategy, and then it's going to just explode. Obviously, we're living in a COVID situation. So did actually COVID situation stimulated you to create this platform? Because a lot of people started digital businesses, online, within the COVID time. So including myself as well. So I can refer to that very easily. Did it stimulate you, or it's something you were thinking about, let's do it?
Look, to be honest with you, it didn't provide any stimulation. The idea behind it is, I guess, it is bigger than COVID. However, what COVID has done is it's allowed people to illustrate that you don't need to be face-to-face to actually transact. So things can be done over video, etc., etc. The other aspect and the way that we see it also is, COVID has been let's call it a restriction of people coming together, okay? One of the things that we're building out in the platform is the ability for consumers to be able to communicate with property professionals via video, essentially. So from a tradesman point of view, coming out and providing a quote, first of all, there's human interaction. And look, in most circumstances, it's not an issue. But the other side of that, it's also time consuming. So if you've got to go to Reservoir, then you've got to go to Surrey Hills, and then you've got to go to Baronia, there's half a day gone doing 3 quotes and not earning any money, okay? So what we want to be able to do is really have a scenario where it can be done by video in some respects, okay? It's like, well, I've got a deck that I need sanding, for example. Here's a video of it, it's 70 square meters. The guy goes, just do a close-up of this. Yep, that's all good for me. I can give you a quote based on that. It's just saved in probably two hours worth of work in terms of time, and it's obviously a lot more efficient. So from a consumer, let's call it COVID. So there's an avenue that can still provide a transactional and commerce relationship, but you don't need to be face to face. From an efficiency point of view, from a tradesperson or any other professional, they're actually just saving time because they're not having to go out and visit, do that, etc., etc., etc.
But do you find that the services as they are, like, for example, buying, selling properties, renovating properties, quoting, is kind of a bit of on hold because people decided to hold on to their savings and they're not spending at the moment because they just don't want to do that?
Yeah, look, I think, in some respects, there are obviously certain people in the market that COVID hasn't really impacted them, directly. So, if you're, for example, in the property/construction space, that's continued. But if you were in the hospitality space, you may not have a job at this point in time. So, I think things have continued to grow. With the announcement of the government, $25,000, investment in terms of property. The market is continuing. The people that I speak to, and obviously you see in the news, property prices are continuing to rise, new home sales are continuing to grow, etc., etc. And look, to be honest with you, usually in circumstances where we enter into a recession, what brings the economy out is property and construction. Because really, nothing else, not to say nothing else, but, everyone needs a roof over their head, some form of maintenance, And, one thing leads to another. Obviously, when you're building a house, there's, furniture, furnishings, et cetera, and they essentially to carry on to other businesses upstream and downstream.
So obviously you would say yes to the question that the property is the most precious asset, would you?
Well, that's most precious. And, when you think about it, it's probably the biggest investment that anyone's going to make.
Yeah. That's right. So it's you're gonna gain, you're not gonna lose, right? If you invest.
In all circumstances.
It depends. It depends where you invest, and it depends what you do. Look, I actually noticed that you've got a guest blogging as the part of your platform, the guest blogging.
Yes.
So I think it's a creative way to attract attention. So why guest blogging? How come? How come guest blogging attached to your platform? So I was just trying to figure it out.
Sure. So to be honest with you, that guest blog has been around for about 4 years. And I have probably around 15 people that contribute on a monthly basis. So for me, it's free content. And obviously with content, it's SEO, et cetera. We don't charge to post on the blog. We only do allow one do follow link essentially, but really, it was established in a way that that allows the site to build content, and obviously through SEO, et cetera. And really, 85% that's on there is not written by me.
You've got incredible blogs, and I actually was going to ask you who is actually writing for you, because
like I said, there's probably around about 15 odd people. When I set it up around about 4 years ago, I started writing myself. And then I had some people reach out of the blue saying, "Oh, can we post?" I said, "Oh yeah, okay, yeah, that's fine." And it's just grown from there. So, I'll get people, contributing maybe 1 or 2 articles a month. And so it's, it's free content for me. They're obviously getting paid by who they're writing for. But that's good luck for them, from that perspective.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, it's a good way actually to do the business, just to extend different opportunities within the platform, because we're all living in a digital world. So this is what we need to do, really, to connect and find the way. Look, I actually, coin community.
Yes.
What is it?
Okay.
What's the coin community?
So essentially, it is not a form of Bitcoin. So essentially, it is a non-financial. So it's a currency, okay, that is used in lieu of cash. Okay, so we are just partnered with with the group to be able to provide our service providers and also our professionals the opportunity to be part of that platform. So the way that it actually works is businesses can sign up, and they sign up for free, essentially, okay? So, and what happens is a business will provide a service, okay? But in lieu of receiving cash, okay, they receive coin, okay? So, for example, I don't know, let's assume, some maintenance work or gardening, for example, okay, a gardener. So he can join the platform. It's free, as I said, to join. So then someone will say, I need my lawns mowed, and he'll go, yep, that's fine, and it's going to cost you 50 coin, essentially, okay? So the consumer will pay them with coin, essentially. So then that gardener then can use those coin to, for example, pay for a haircut or buy some product or service, essentially. Okay. So it's not Bitcoin. I mean, some people might, depending on your age, but the old thing of barter card, for example, where you would exchange something for in return, this is exactly the same. So the currency is actually not cash denomination, it's actually coin. And you trade through the value of the coin. So right now it is a traded commodity. The coin value, I think the last time I looked, is around about sort of $2 or so. So when we first started, the coin value, I purchased it at was around 35 cents. And now it's around about $2.80 or something like that, essentially. So
it's all adds up.
Look, I'm not doing it from the point of view of doing that. It's more about, providing our partners the opportunity to be able to transact with a different form of currency, essentially.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, it's a good one. It's actually quite an interesting way.
Yeah.
Very interesting way. Look, obviously, what would be your best day in the business? Like, say, for example, the day of Steven Zammit for today, like for Realestate Uno, like you open your computer, you go to your website. So how would you describe your best day? Maybe it's a review from the client. Maybe it's some reaching out from someone saying, "Hey, look, you really helped me with this." So how would you make the best day?
Look, a great day for me would be my inbox being filled with notifications of people logging into the platform. It'd also be filled with people signing up to the platform. So for now, the service that we're providing is free for both consumers and obviously for property professionals. And once we build that out, we begin to get some traction, then we'll look to provide a subscription model for property professionals. So what we're looking at doing, where Facebook basically charges you to do paid advertising, and you spend a certain amount on that. Our business model is going to be predicated on a monthly subscription fee. So you pay a fixed fee on a monthly basis. At this point in time, it's sitting at around about sort of $25 to $35 a month plus GST. And that will give you access to a number of different things. Firstly, obviously, our customer base. We also have over the last sort of couple of years, we've built, I've built a database. That database now sits at over 100,000. So again, as we continue to grow out as we continue to grow out and build out the platform, we will then start to begin to communicate with that database, essentially. So for people coming on board, we will give them access to that. They'll be able to essentially market to those consumers. And because the way that the platform is actually set up, for all property professionals, the profile allows a consumer to like, share, follow, comment, and post. So every time a consumer does that, the service provider gets notified of who that particular consumer is, okay, by their name. So then what that allows, obviously, it illustrates some form of either interest or communication. So there could be just a simple question, post there, or it could be just a like or something like that. So what we're going to be able to do is be able to aggregate all that data and then allow the service provider to market to those specific people. Now, with Facebook, you go in there and you pay for that, et cetera, et cetera. What we're doing is part of our subscription model is you'll be able to market to them directly. So, so that's another different way that we're actually allowing property professionals to connect with that. In addition to that, over the sort of next month or so, we'll also release the ability for people who sell product. Okay, so what we've done, if you're kind of familiar with Pinterest, we basically kind of merged the concept of Pinterest with Shopify, for example. So a person who sells, let's call it vases for all intents and purposes, they can create a board with all their vases on there. It'll have a description on there. It'll have a price point, and it'll have a URL link back to their particular landing page. And then over time, we'll then allow the consumer to make the purchase through there. But for now, anyone selling anything for property, they can just create a board. As I said, picture, will allow video later, and again, it reverts back to the product provider, a platform essentially. So the same as Pinterest.
How many people do you have on board, like in your team? Because it sounds like it's not just you and another person. There's a couple of people in the team because it's a big work.
Look, right now I'm the main person. I've got a part-time developer from a coding perspective, but I also have a couple of people who assist me through a virtual assistant.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, but it's developing. It's in the process because all the system it needs a lot of thinking, and you really need to think about every single detail, right?
Correct.
So
Correct.
you need to start it correctly, because if you don't start it correctly, it's going to be harder to fix later on, like down the track. Because I know, like digital, it's a easy, but it's not. It takes a bit of effort and thinking and stuff like that. So, all right. So, one of the last questions. So you probably mentioned that already, but it's like a bit of a challenge. Okay, five points of differences to your competitors for Realestate Uno. One.
Social commerce.
Beautiful. Second.
Bilateral or bi-directional communication.
Fantastic. Three.
Cheaper.
4.
New vertical.
And 5.
Build trust and relationships.
Fantastic. Awesome. You were very quick on that one. I was expecting challenge, like you were actually thinking, which means you know exactly what you're doing, Steven. So, look, I just thank you so much for coming in and jumping in today, this morning, Saturday. We had a beautiful catch up. Please, everyone, Steven's story as well is available in Ubizblog, and also I've got him in Aussie directory, and we've got a couple of views already watching your profile daily, so I'm keep tracking people and how many people viewing your profile. So the video will be also available on YouTube and in Ubizblog as well, and I'm sure Steven probably utilize it somehow, and we'll see. Thank you so much for coming. Anything else you'd like to add?
Look, anyone who's interested in the platform, please reach out to us. More than happy to help. And thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much, Steven. Have a lovely weekend.
You
Good
too.
luck with everything. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.